We're back. We're back, yes. We're back for 37. Let's play Railway Crossing Lottery. A nice sunny trip into the workshop. And fun intros as always. You like our fun intros. It's Railway Crossing Lottery, everyone. Looking for those pacer trains that like flying around the highway, byway, railway tracks. Do we get a red light? Is an epic fail, or do we get some joy at the lights? Oh no, oh no, oh no. Wow, well, we're back in the workshop, and 36 has been and gone, and I thought an hour, nearly 2 hours. I'm sorry for the long footage, but that's how much footage I had to cram in to the mix to keep you guys in the loop. And it's always strange opening a new film. You never know what's going to be ahead of you and where you left off and what part 37 will bring. Who knows, because there's a lot on the horizon. But right at the end of that film I saw you just with those two steering column shafts there. Look, we've got to go and start finding the rest of the bits, and that's one of the hardest jobs, is finding parts. I have a kind of system, but you still lose stuff. You still have to go and try and find stuff. So we open with 37, and we thank comments and feedback from 36, and for all the other films from 1 to 36, and films older. There's all sorts on the channel if you have a browse around. All sorts of trips to Italy, car shows, meeting people. I think that's the best part of the whole thing, is the people. That's what makes it at City. It's without the people it just wouldn't be fun. And hey, while I'm talking to you, I found the missing bit, the steering column. I was just going to spend hours trying to find it, and there it is. That was the piece I was looking for. Why that particular piece? Because that's a facelift one with a double bracket on for a twin column stalk. On the later cars you had a stalk on both sides because they changed the controls around, and I want to use one of them for my cruise control operations. So we're doing a little conversion on the steering column. We're going to get right on with that now. So welcome aboard. Settle down in front of your tellies, your tablets, your mobiles, your iPhones. We don't use iPhones. I've got old school Nokias because I don't like touch screens. You see, my hands just don't work. Look, can you imagine these shovels trying to press buttons on an iPhone, scrolling through like this, pinching that, opening that? I can't do it. I've got dexterous hands, but they're too big, and I'd end up breaking the screen. My little Nokia, you can go home, bang nails in with it all day, and it'll come back and shoot dead on target every time. That's a great little phone, a little Nokia slide. These iPhones, they're like toys. This Nokia, look at that, that's a great little phone, look at that. Now you can spot what that quote's from. I'm going to send you a prize. We're already outstanding prize for Terminal 14. Look, he was on the board as a winner, and we're very naughty because we haven't sent him his mug. But I'm going to prove to you that we've not forgotten about Terminal 14. Out we go. Around we go, round the mulberry bush we go. Here's all our parts. You see, like, we do have a system. Look, there's our system, but we've not forgotten about Terminal 14, because look, he's watching. There's his mug, there's his address. I've just been a naughty boy and not posted it. His address is written out here, so we apologise. So yeah, if you can spot the quote, that little Nokia phone, you can go out and bang nails into it all day. It's going to come back and shoot bang on target every time. Look at that, that's a great little phone. Them iPhones, they use them in Africa for killing elephants. Now, can you name that? It's a 70s classic film, okay? If you know the film, you probably know the quote. Let's try it anyway. Here's another one you learn every day. Okay, look at this. We've got a, hang on, let's get this right. There's a facelift column that has the two stalks. Okay, so On my car you just have that one stalk. So there's the bracket for my car, missing the holes to mount the double stalk, just the one stalk mount there, see. Then on the facelift they changed it so you could have your wiper controls and your lights on the stick. So you was able to have a double bracket and then fit two controllers on it. Okay, but the shroud's different on a facelift, so you've got to use a pre-facelift shroud, and here's one, and make it fit onto there. So we've got to take this bracket off and place it onto this shaft here. But here's something I spotted, and you're always learning something here. Look, there's a cutout, and there's a cutout. This shroud's got two cutouts, but that's because it's made up of two different halves. Yellow plastic versus black plastic shroud. They must have changed on pre-facelift cars at some point in the production. They've changed which side your indicators fit, because unless you can tell me why this is, look, indicator on the left if you sat in the car on that shroud, on that pre-facelift shroud, and then on this pre-facelift shroud slightly later, because they've changed the plastic. We'll check the numbers in a sec. Look, I didn't know this. Did you know this? Mark III Cortina anoraks. It's definitely one for the anoraks. You stick your indicators coming out the right hand side, so work that one out. Anoraks right in. Let's have a look at the codes. Have we got a code on this shroud? Yes, we have. 71BB. Okay, so that's a 35 at 30. And you're right, my F's, my TH's are knackered. 3530 CAW, so almost the same. BBW. BBW? Big, beautiful women. BBWs. So, yeah, they've changed it. At what point, on what car, if you look at your car, is your indicator on the left or the right? All my ones, as far as I can remember, are on the left. I don't understand. Somebody help me. Okay, so that's the score. As it happens, by joining two of the shrouds together, we already get a cutout on both sides, so we don't need to start milling out that shape. Not that it would have been hard to do, but it'll give us an exact position. So a pre-facelift shroud, by adding the old type to the new, you get cutouts on both sides of the shroud for my double column thing, so no need to be cutting, and they do fit together all right. Look, cutout and cutout, already factory done. So the factory have swapped that indicator stalk, I think. Tell me if you think differently. I think that's gone across to there at some point. Oh, I'm going to have to start looking at manuals and photos now. It's going to do me head in. You think you know it all? No, I don't think I know it all, but you think there's nothing left to learn is more accurate to say. There's nothing left to learn, but there's always something, and the mind just accumulates all this info. Great. Okay, let's get on and drill these rivets and then fit this double bracket onto my powder coated shaft. We're not using these, are just reference. I've got a powder coated shaft. We're going to have to make a slight alteration to it in the way that it fixes. This is curved and allows the shroud to fit and locate neatly at the top. It's actually secured with a bolt further down. This doesn't have that curved shape, so we need to make sure that we've got this shape here on top of here, so that when the shroud comes in on this facelift bracket, that it's not going to be wobbling around at the top. So we need to make a good secure fixing. Let me find my powder coated column now. Okay, that's what we wanted. Let's see that fits. Here's our powder coated shaft. I'm going to get that to go on that, and then the shroud to Okay, we got, come on in, have a look what we're up to. Rick's on camera again. Look what we got. We've been building this up. I found out why they have holes in the other side. It's for left-hand drive. Googling some pictures reveals that left-hand drive's indicators go on this side. You wouldn't have thought it, but it makes sense. Rick pointed out gear change maybe. Anyway, we can use that left-hand drive cowling to mock it up. We can always cut another one out if I don't use this. It's got a slight crack in it, so we might not use it, but we can cut the hole. Everything fits together in that position, so I can take the wheel off. Now I've rebuilt the centre shaft. I've cleaned the bearing on that. I'll show you what I've done. Take these off. These just pop off like this. So we've got the facelift bracket on, so you can mount both your control stalks. That for cruise. So we've got increased speed on the cruise, decreased speed on the cruise, increase and cruise off at the back. So up, cruise on, increased speed, decreased speed, left and right. I've no use for those, so that's that, and that'll be normal indicators as normal, no change. There's the bracket. We've made a profiling piece, me and Rick. We've built this here, which matches the profile of the inside of the cowling, so that when the cowling's on, we're not wobbling around all over the place. So that's a nice little touch we've got there. Spring mounted, so it fits the exact profile. Piece of plastic cut, some incisions in it there to create a sort of score line. Bit of heat on it from the heat gun, then some foam padding on top, mounted on 2 foam pads so it's able to compress. So that's good, that works nice. Just ready to fit the rivets. I put one in just in case it wasn't going to work. We're now ready to re-rivet the remaining 2 rivets. I'm using these collapsibles. If you see this rivet shaft, it's made so that it's a low profile rivet because there's not a lot of room in here. If you look at the end of a one I've stripped down, if them rivets are too long, they're going to hit the centre of the shaft. So we use ones that collapse down quite tight and then they're not hitting inside there. So we just stick that in. At the moment it will be wobbling around because it's touching the centre, but by the time we give it the treatment, it will disappear off. Now we're good to go there. Be careful not to damage the stalks. Really should take them off. Another low profile rivet going in. 5mm, well 4.8mm holes. Had to be re-drilled because it's in a slightly different position. I think this last one will do it. So that's it, we're on there. We can take these off now and start putting in the breakaway clips. It has breakaway clips here on a telescopic collapsible column. This designed when you get smashed to pieces in the car and you break all your legs and stuff. This stops you from getting impaled on the steering wheel because this will collapse as the floor pan disintegrates, as a Land Rover who's texting you behind you smacks you into the front of a duster, whatever they're called, them stupid duster cars. Sorry if you've got one. Smack, and that'll collapse and stop you from your chest from going through there. Well, that's the idea. Also, the centre of the steering column is telescopic. Look, I'll show you what I mean. That slides within that. It's actually a friction fit, but if I tap that, this will slide in. So when you have your crash, the whole thing collapses right down and basically doesn't stab you like that. So that's what we've learned and discovered. We've now got to change these across. These are all part of it as well. These are designed to break away and slide out. There's no solid fixings on anything to do with the steering column. Is crushable. If you hit that with a sledgy, it'll fold. These designed to break out too. You can see if I'm fixed there, that'll break away as I push on it with my chest. So you've got both sides of movement. I'm collapsing at this side, my chest is hitting at that side. I'm pushing this down, the whole thing, and then they move away. These are nylon inserts. So we're going to swap all those across to our super duper powder coated column, and then we'll start building up the finished article. There's some bushes and things to put on the bottom, but we've changed the bush at the top. You have here at the top a little bush which fits just over there. I can't see a spare one. I have got a spare one, and that's the end of the steering column in this end, and it stops it from wobbling that way. That bush needs cleaning. You have to blow them out with air and put them in thinners and clean them because they clog up. It slides on, circlip that side, another cover goes on, circlip that side, then this then inserts into the remainder of the housing and you clip it on. There's not much to it really. Okay then, continuing to build up, just put these slide bolts on. These are designed to break away again in the event of a crash. As I said, you have to fit them with these little wafers. We had wafers in the locks, didn't we? Now we've got wafers here, little inserts. Very brittle these. What I did, I've ground back with because this is powder coated, I've sanded and ground back so that these fitted, then some lube on them. I just used this multi-purpose lube, gently tapped them in, trying to keep them square and parallel. They can be tricky. There's two types as well. They elongated them on later cars. I don't know why that might be, just to take up adjustment in the steering. I don't know. Hopefully we're not going to need those elongated ones. They don't fit in this column anyway. There's two types of column. They obviously go through and change stuff all the time. Okay, so we've got the bottom bulkhead bush on now. That just pushes on. That's a steel and rubber combined bush, which pushes right through the bulkhead. Can be a tricky one when you're fitting your column. You've got to grease that and you push the column into the bulkhead and it snaps home. The last thing to do on this, I've just pinched from this column, this bushing, this plastic bushing, which taps in on these little locating holes here, look, and you have to just reverse tap that out and gently parallel tap it at one side, tap it at the other. If not, you'll crack it. I wouldn't like to try and get hold of one of these. Looks like one of them parts you just wish you had one of, and the only way you get one is breaking a car and getting it off the steering column. That's why every single part of a car is valuable. Every single part of a car is totally valuable and needed. So if you're breaking a car, you keep every single item, never throw anything out, because who knows when you're going to need that. Wouldn't like to try and get hold of one of those. So that now goes inside my end of my column here. May have to just sand the powder coat off for that to fit. We'll just have a look now. I noticed there was grease on the inside of it. It could well be that they greased the end of there, although I'm not sure. It did have traces of grease on that. So that would fit in the end of the column. As I said, the end here of the shaft is telescopic. You'll have to grip that and tap it lightly to get the exact right length, because this will have collapsed or expanded in the time we've been working on this, and the length of that shaft won't necessarily reach the steering UJ inside the engine bay, so we'll have to check that that's all right. But you just grip it and tap it and it'll slide on the telescope, longer or shorter within this. Rivets all on. That's your self-cancelling collar here. This is what cancels the indicators when you turn left and right. There's a little arm here, and when the arm of the indicator's on, it engages with this, and as I turn, it flicks and cancels the indicator by means of a mechanical toggle. Spring there just to keep the steering wheel spring loaded. Steering wheel nut. That's it for the top end of that. So throughout the course of today, we've worked out how a column goes back together, or rather we've refreshed our memory, because I've already done it once before. That bushing to tap into there now with some grease on, and just to sand the inside face where the powder coat's hit, and I think that's all the parts. We'll put the steering lock on it too, and then that's ready to have the cowling fitted at some point. We may or may not use that old cowling over there. We may use the one we've already painted, and we might have to route another hole out, but because we've got that as a template, we can get that pretty exact. So steering column's pretty much boxed off now. Some general purpose grease going in just to be on the safe side. It is a rotational point on the bush. Now we're going to tap that plastic bushing home. That finalises the end of this end of the column. All right, down we go to see just what goes into it. It's not so bad. Okay, that tapped home all right. I just had to use the end of a spanner there and evenly went round very slowly, and it worked its way in. Now we just knock those little tangs in. There's 3 of them. We just knock them in with a blunt screwdriver there, and that's locked in place. And that's done. The end of that bushing went in all right. I think the grease helped, and gentle tapping, and it popped in nicely. Felt that go. So we're good there as well. Okay, last job to do is fit the steering lock. The steering lock's and barrel is connected to the shaft by these snap bolts here. 2 bolts which normally have a little 10mm head on, and as you tighten up, that 10mm head's designed to break away and leave just a stub. So if someone's trying to take your car to undo the steering lock, they have difficulty undoing these bolts because the head's sheared off. For now, I've just slotted them out just so I can get them in with a flat blade and test the locking system. On eBay we can get those, so we'll take these out later when the eBay ones arrive and we'll snap lock them on. Just testing the steering lock, keys in, so we're free to rotate on the end of the column, and it's a nice movement because we're all greased. I think that grease at that end also helped. So nice movement, and then pull out the key, and then the steering column lock will pop on. You'll hear a click, there's the click, and we're locked. Key in to test that it disengages. Round we go, and then we're free to turn. So we're all done and functioning, very nice and smooth. The key's got some grease and oil on it, that'll slowly deteriorate. We'll keep cleaning that off. I could do with a new key. This one's rusty, but it is a nice original Ford one, as you saw on part 36. So running there, call that a day. So a day on the steering column gets us good results. Looking forward to some body shop visits soon coming up. Can you hold on? Hope you can. So another part done, and the cowling bracket as I described, so it should all fit together nicely. So moving on good, we're getting loads done, all ready for when the shell gets in, and we've got all the parts lined up, as you know, in them boxes, bubble wrapped and ready to fit like a big Meccano kit. It's going to be exciting. Oh, right, we've got a petrol tank done. I didn't really show you the prep work on this, but we've finished it all. That's a nicely rebuilt fuel sender. We might have featured that earlier on. You've got your petrol tank hooks there, straps underneath. We've got the isolating rubber strips on top, so when it bolts up to the chassis, it's not metal to metal. We've cleaned up, rebuilt, re-galvanised those securing straps for the filler cap rubber. That goes inside. Locking petrol cap there. There's the steering column rebuilt round this side. Nice tank. So we're done with that. Tank's all done lovely. Keeping on moving. So a nice tank there for us. Okay, starter motor stripped down. Central shaft out the starter motor. Bush set there in the gearbox. We'll be looking at that later. But here's the body of the starter motor. You're going up on the tripod. We're moving you fast because we want to get you to the body shop. We want to see that car, but let's get this moving. Come on, let's go. correct finish in red oxide, then satin black on top. We're keeping it original, that's how these were built on this particular model anyway. We found the oxide underneath, so back to bare metal, oxide and satin black. Starter motor moving fast. We're not going to dwell too long on these kind of things, just keep you moving, showing you with attention to detail. Keep it on going, everyone. Okay, that's that motor casing nicely painted up, marked back up and done. So we need to now clean up the gearbox housing. As it happens, we're using a different gearbox with the 3-pin connector here. This is I think it's a later type, a separate spade. I'll just go and check my loom, but I think it's this one. We're going to clean this up. We've got some degreaser solution in a bucket ready to go. We're just going to get a seam sealer brush. I use this type to stipple it out before we take the cover off. We want to get that clean. So that's the next job, clean that housing up with that. I've been calling this a starter motor. Before everyone writes in, not a starter motor, wiper motor. Sorry about that on the last few minutes. Wiper motor, okay. Okay, I'm ready for that armature to go back in its casing. Here, just fits in the bottom there. All we need is to get the grease in there. We're going to clean out the bottom of that bush as well. It looks a bit grubby. Something we've overlooked. We just get a brush in there now and get that out. No problem having the earlier casing because the motors, these are made at a separate time, and then they fitted the gearbox covers. So that doesn't worry me too much. You may think I'm obsessive over the numbers and stamps. This one's lost its number. I can just see it on another motor, but my fonts don't always match. Sometimes I'm a point size up, or my fonts, I'm stuck with what stencils I've got available. But I'd rather put one on than not have the number on there. It doesn't take long to do. It just means when you open everything up, it looks like you've made an effort. This will clean up pretty easy, I can tell. So I'm going to spin it round now. For you, I won't film the rest of that, but we'll film it when we strip it. So let me carry on cleaning this for you guys. Okay, we're inside the gearbox and we can see straight away we've got a lot of dried up, broken up grease. And this is just where the shaft, the worm drive would be going, and it's dry. So this is in need of a service, so it's good we stripped it down. Contactor pins are okay, but it's just dry. It's all dried up, so we've got to take this apart. I'm going to do that slowly now. Wheel out first is your contactor wheel and your drive wheel, and you can see that grease is finished. So that'll be why your starter motor, your wiper motor will be running dry and slow because it's lost its grease. So that'll create a bit of extra friction, which will slow down the efficiency and the speed of your wipers. So it's good to always strip these. If I powered this up, it probably would have run, but that's not doing any action at all. That grease, it's gone, it's finished. So we're going to clean this up in thinners now to get rid of the rest of that grease, and then we'll just dry it down. We may paint this casing, and then we're done to put it back together. It's not going to take much to clean this. Okay, and that wheel there, we're hoping that you don't get it out of phase, so we have to be careful with that wheel as it goes in. I actually don't think you can do any harm actually with that. No, it's going to be okay. Strip down, clean of these components next for Wiper Motor Refurb, part 30, episode 37. Okay, we're all stripped down, we're all cleaned. We've got a nice refurbed top there, dusted in to look alley, and a lacquer on it to stop it corroding. All the parts stripped and cleaned. Make note of this little ball bearing in the base of your armature. That seizes up. Mine was seized. Thinners on that one and a little stiff brush, toothbrush or seam sealer brush. Get the bristles in there, clean it out, and then what I do to free that up, our friendly towel. You can never do without these towels, they're great. And we just roll it on the towel and you'll feel it go, and then that's rolling nicely. So that ball bearing's doing its job. We're going to put CV grease on that one simply because it's under, with that surface area that can generate heat. So the CV grease, it doesn't melt, so we'll pop a little bit on there before it goes into the body. There's our redone body as you saw. before we do that, we'll reassemble the gears back in to the gear housing. There's a little nylon sort of buffer stop which fits in the end of here. In that goes. That was all jammed up hard with grease. There's your cover. There's another bearing, another washer. There it is. Don't forget that there's a washer that goes on there, and that's a friction washer for this to rub against. So my job now is to we'll put normal grease in this bit because it's not under any tension, so just our uni grease there into there and spin that wheel around, let it get embedded. Okay, and then we can put the cap back on it. Might get some new ones of these. I don't know if they were finished in black or not. I might have some galv ones which will look a little bit better. We may as well do it. It doesn't cost any more just to spend another hour getting your wiper motor looking nice. Okay, no one can see it, but you've got a nice documented record of what you've done on your resto, and when you close that bonnet, you know underneath all the covers and stuff, everything's looking as it should, which I think's a lot better. It doesn't take much long, and it's interesting to see how it all comes together, and this will run smoother as well. So if you've got a lazy wiper motor, it doesn't quite throw the arms at full speed, then this is probably why. We'll be looking at the bushes, but these look okay. Here's the bushes. These are probably the most important part. They're hanging out at the moment. There's still plenty of life on them bushes. Spring loaded, and that'll be the trick, just getting the armature back on to those bushes, alright? But I think we can do it. They're graphite bushes there, there's plenty of life in them left yet. Alright, so let's put this back together. Okay, the grease on. I'm happy with these contacts, so this plate can go back, not a problem at all. Let's pop that plate back on. I'm really happy with that. Wiper motor, everybody. Now for the tricky bit. These are the bushes. We've checked that they're okay. We've also checked that the armature's okay and clean. There's the armature, and there's the yoke and the split armature there. That's that copper thing you can see. That has to be clean as well. You don't want any carbon build up on that, so I just clean that off. Some light WD-40, and now we've got to get that into here. These bushes are spring loaded. I'm holding one back with my thumb. Those two there are facing off on each other. One's out of its socket. We've got to try and guide the shaft through. I can't remember how I've done this. I've done it before. I don't know how the hell I did it. There will be a technique. I don't really know what it is. We're going to work on it as we go. Okay, tricky with one hand, but I gripped one of the little brush cables there just carefully with the long nose on the edge of the housing, and held it back with my other two fingers. I was able to push the other two back. Then I've got the armature almost in. Now it's just a case of slowly pushing in the bushes till they land on the armature there. So croc clip one of your bushes, one or two of your bushes back with little croc clips on the edge of your motor, and you'll get them. That's how you do that. So now I'm going to pull the bushes back now that they're sort of halfway in, and then the armature will slip home into them. Here we go. I can't do it while you film. I've no tripod today. It's gone AWOL. Henry went AWOL, but Henry's turned up again. Stuff just comes and goes. Okay, we're nearly in. Just lift, sort of get your fingers, just pry them apart and try and hold the other one back, and they will go. It's a little bit tricky, and then at the same time just rotate in, because this has got to screw its way in to the wheel, so the armature won't just push straight into the motor. You've got to turn this at the same time, because the worm drive's engaging the wheel, so that can get you a bit. If I keep turning that now, it'll pull it in. Look how it's pulled it in. If I turn in that, then it'll bottom out, and now we're parked. that's fitted, that's in. We're good to go there. We can test this in a minute, put some power to it and see how it runs. So brushes and armature, okay, they're clean. There's no need to really do anything except some alcohol wipes and a cotton bud on there, or just WD-40 and a light lint-free cloth, and you're away. Clean any metal fragments you might find, and don't forget to do your CV joint compound at the end for that little roller bearing when it snaps home into the magnetic housing over there. We're nearly done, nearly done. Great stuff. Okay guys, we're tested and running. We're away. It's sounding smooth. Twin speed, Earth's your comment. This is fast speed. Listen to that fly. So we are running. I think everything's as it should be. Let's just hope it runs. Let's just hope that's right. All sounds okay to me. That click in your ears, the wipers as they go round to the different segments. We're up and running. Slow speed. And off we go. Fast speed. Whoa! Talk there. Whoa! Woohoo! Flies around with the inertia there. Could it jump? Anyway, we know that works. Alright, let's not mess with it anymore. We're up and running. Let's get it into its housing. Work carries on, building up the wiper kit. Oh, nice cover there, refurbed. Using a plastic bumper paint and then buffed up with a special primer that you can get from the motor factors. Eats into plastic, gets you a good key. Here's our wiper mount plate, nicely powder coated. Very early on that was done. And then we've got, just flip that over gently, I don't want to mark the cover, a galvanised wiper arm linkage there. That was done as part of our galvanising process, so that looks smart. We've greased up in all the usual places. The grommet there, there's a weatherproofing grommet goes on. Hard to find if you lose those, so if you're breaking a car, keep all the bits. Okay, back on its base, new wiper spindles. They can have play in them. You get a smoother operation on the wipers if you've got good spindles. I mean, your spindles may well be okay. I replaced these anyway, so they're nice and new. We're just now looking for these covers come off, by the way, to reveal the splines. I can't quite do it with one hand as usual, that one-handed operation. Oh no, we've done it. These are early fitting ones, later series 2 pre-facelift had a nut and bolt. These just clip on. We've got some good stainless steel wiper arms courtesy of the little newt. Jim, we know you're watching. Greased up the knuckle joins, the ball and sockets, whatever you want to call them. And now we're just looking for the fixing kit for the scuttle panel. So it requires these fixing bolts. It also requires some plastic inserts. We're going to go and dig them out of stores. So we build up everything so that we're not looking for stuff later on. Alright, that's what we're doing. Our bulkhead closing panel there, nice one that was already powder coated. Little securing Phillips for that plastic cover. You know what's underneath here. It's the lovely refurbed wiper motor. So I'm just going to carry on digging through stores to get the rest of the fitting kit for this. Then this can go into our storage box, bubble wrapped up, as we do with all the stuff. You can see the method that we've got here, and that's to get everything in packs, so it's quicker assembly. If I find all these bits now, it's quicker later on when the shell comes back, because you've got everything. This will save valuable time, because we are going to be against the deadline. The deadline's the NEC November. We're booked in, so if you want to come and see the car, it's the NEC Classic Car Show in November. Dates to be announced. I think it's the 6th. I'm not sure. It's early November anyway. You can start googling it up if you want. Alright, that's where Ruby's going to be, we hope. I could always trailer it there, worst case scenario, but we hope to be driving Ruby there. Let's get the rest of those bits for this wiper arm assembly now. Okay, I'm just finishing off these closing plates. That's your bulkhead closing plate in the engine bay. Foam sealing pad on there because it needs to be a reasonably airtight seal against the bulkhead, because the bulkhead forms a plenum chamber for the fresh air and you don't want to be drawing engine fumes in. These closing plates just seal off the scuttle air intake from the engine bay, so we foam pad there, and also the same on the starter motor, if I can spin it, just foamed round with a self-adhesive sealing foam there. That fits over there. That creates your bulkhead area, the plenum area just behind the grill. Intake grill's just at the top. Finished the wiper spindles. Found all the galvanised nuts. There's a plastic shaped inlay washer there which engages into the scuttle panel. It's got a little lip on the inside. Then there's a flat washer over it, which is specialised for the shaft. It's a special, well, I say special washer, but it's got a large inner circle on the washer. Put these spindle covers on for now. There's our two wiper blades, which we'll be using. Not going for speed blades this time. I like these chrome ones here. I've got speed blades, but we'll see. Galvanised linkage rods, of course. There's that thing finished. Covers just off because we were flipping it. Over to the fuel tank we go. Nearly finished now, guys. Just some more cushioning pad for the straps when they fit up against the petrol tank. You don't want metal to metal because that can rub through, potentially anyway, or create problems to do with you know, stuff getting in between there, basically isolating the tank anyway. Foam backing piece cut to size, just applying the last one now. Pull back on the self-adhesive and stick down as I go, so I'll follow through there. Okay, and when we're finished on the straps, these nice galvanised rubber neck filler Jubilees, large Jubilees, locking petrol cap. I think we spoke through this before. The re-galvanised. We need to test that sender unit. I have tested it off the bench, but I just want to make sure the float's in the right place. Going to stick the camera down the spout there. We're going to have a look. We've got a boroscope camera there. We're just going to see how that float lies. Make sure that's the right one. I wasn't 100% sure. I think it is Cortina. Just going to see how it sits. It looked right when I was offering it up and locking it in place. I just want to make sure the float's inside the tank properly. Other than that, these little bits are done. Steering column's ready to box away. Alright, so getting close. We really are getting close now. Time to go down to the body shop soon. I'll be running out of things to film. I really am going to run out of things to film, because we're starting to draw to a close on the ancillary bits. Ha 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 ha. You might not see the body shell. We've got the seats to build. The seat frames to build. Let me get right onto that now, because I want to finish off. I've got a couple of hours spare today. I want to keep moving. Seat frames. Let's do them seat frames. Let's bubble wrap this stuff up. And we've got some glass. Here's I forgot about the glass. See, there's always stuff. Everyone sighs and goes, oh God, just show us the body shell. Stop messing about. This is a build video. Everyone who's building a car will want to see the finer details. Those who aren't building and watching for entertainment, no problem, we appreciate that. It's what it's all about. But can you hang on a little bit longer while we do this glass? Alright, I want to pick out a full set of sundim glass. Now, sundim glass, what's sundim glass? If you don't know your Mark 3s, it's Ford offered it. It was fitted as standard on the 2 litre E. It's basically just a tinted glass. The trademark is sundim. It's stamped into the glass here. It's got a green tinge to it. Swampy has it fitted. It's good stuff. We need to find, we've got a set, about 6 sets to look through. We've got a lot of new parts just arrived, Mark 3 parts from a clear out, so we've got loads of stuff to look through. There's all sorts of panels and stuff just in. We'll put them into stores. Okay, glass seat frames, let's go. It's going to fill up 37. It's going to annoy people who want to see the shell, isn't it? I'm sorry. I am. Maybe I'll bang a clip in at the end. I might even put a preview clip up. But for now, 37 must be true to itself. It's a restoration video. Part by part. Every part. We hope to cover every item. So we're covering every item, see? See in a minute. We better have a look inside the fuel tank, just to see where our fuel sender is. Okay, Rick, put the probe in, let's have a look. Over that, towards your 2 o'clock. In we go, down the mulberry bush. Where's that fuel sender landing? I can't even see anything. Rusty inside that tape, brand new. Ah. Does that rest on the bottom of the tank, do you reckon? Control. All the way upside down with the tank sender. No, that's the bottom of the tank. So, what's its posture? Right, so the fuel filter is picking right up to the very last drop, isn't it? Yeah. And the sender bottoms out with the reserve. So when your sender's completely up, you've still got the last little bit of fuel that you can pick up. Interesting how they did that. A world first on Cortina City. Exact position of your fuel sender float. Yeah, it's correct. Happy with that. That's how it sits. Petrol tank kit getting boxed up, ready to go out. Into stores we go for petrol tank kit. Ashes to ashes, funk to funky. We know Major Tom's a junkie. Hey. Well, the news is in. You just saw us messing with that petrol tank. But the next day, we get the call from the body shop. Just as predicted in this part of the film, the call came in. They want us in. They want it on the spit. They want to paint underneath because it's going into primer today. Almost a year since it was taken away. How long was that? But we made use of the time. So no downtime was actually wasted because, okay, so the shell was sat there. Okay, so they had their injury. We hear they've recovered. We're happy for that. We're going to go and see if they're doing all right. But all the time, the downtime, I used to build those kits of parts to save time. So effectively, we're no worse off, really. And it's time now to play Railway Crossing Lottery. Will the lights flash? Will we get it? Just slowly now, just to try and egg it on a bit. We're approaching the level crossing. No, please. No. Very shortly we roll into the body shop they need us to flip the car on the rotary so we can paint underneath. So first job's to paint the underside of the shell. So we're rolling in now finally in August in part 37. We'll get it on the rotary now, flip it round, get the first lot of paint on underneath and just go over any little bits that you need to fill or skim, particularly paying attention in the engine bay. Let's go in there now to see Juju and get the car flipped round. Hope you're looking forward to this little clip coming up. Let's see what we can do. It's in primer now, so let's go and have a look. Here we go. We'll see you in a minute, as Martin says. See you. Okay, here we are in primer. Bit of stopper going on now. You see that red stopper there to get the finer, smoother point. So we'll start to work on the engine bay. The boys getting it all prepped up. Remember the engine bay, how we left you episodes and episodes ago. So they keep calling me in to just double check how I want things and making sure we get it all right. So we're in the body shop, but we're in primer. I've got the rotary now to flip the car round. So we're doing good. Finally got there. Take you a little tour. And there we are. Here's our rotary. We've got to get that bolted on now. Right, let's crack on and spin it round. Okay, body's on the rotary. I'm going back to the unit now to finish the seat bases off. I'll leave them to it. They're going to start some paint under.
Download your favourite station app onto your smartphone or tablet and take digital radio with you wherever you go this summer.
To find out about the many ways to listen to digital radio, visit getdigitalradio.com.
Love radio, go digital.
This is the second time Resto has been asked here. The second person to inform it was. What about the second album? Not sure. Here's something you will remember.
Ricky on camera again. Fully built up seat base. I think this is passenger side, but I've done them both. Drivers is there. Oh, this one's fully compressed. This one's fully extended. Now, some people were talking or asking about the bed lever. What is it? Well, the bed lever's here, and it's only on early Series 1 cars. They did away with it. I'm not sure why. But what it does is it extends the seat that little bit further forward than you'd normally get. It's two sets of runners. You've got bed seat runners and you've got your normal seat runners. You'll have these. If you've not got a bed lever, you'll at least have these, which there's your normal sliding handle that's under your seat on your car. So squeeze that, it pulls a cable which releases both locking pawls, or whatever you want to call them, and then your seat slides backwards and forwards just like this. And that's it. And there's two plastic ball bearing races inside each seat, and you can't get these powder coated because you damage the plastics inside, so that's why these aren't powder coated and everything else is. Mine were damaged. I had to get some more. I was lucky. Inside here is a plastic ball race. It's little white plastic roller ball bearing type thing with a rubber wheel on it, and it just coasts between these two indentations. The factory must put it in, and the factory must stamp it into position. Here, those indentations, you can't get them out. There's two in there. I think actually it lives up here between there and there. There's two, and they just roll and coast. There's no actual metal to metal apart from laterally, but there's none on top. So to service it, load a WD-40 and degrease it, and then re-grease the whole thing with whatever grease you want to pick. So that makes that nice. I tested it by doing this, and at first it was really stiff and it began to break up, then compressed air down it to blast all the grease out of the seized up grease out of the races. I'm calling them races for the purposes of this. So they're nice. This one's nice. So that's the top deck. That's the bit which you'd have on your facelift or your Series 2. But on the early ones, as I said, you had this extra lever here which you pull. This arm links across to that arm with this cable. They're just hooks which jam into the ratchet, so it just pulls both ratchets out, and then the whole assembly is on another jig which moves. I'm going to see if I can do it. That one's going, this one might be a bit stuck. It's going to be tricky doing this with one hand, but we might not get that now. Let's see. Oh, there we go. It's just stuck. The whole assembly, you can see how that's moving. Let's do it on this side, it's a bit freer. Carrying that whole assembly with it, and another slide is operating now underneath, because I've freed it up by pulling the bed lever, and then let go of the lever and it'll lock into place at some point around here. You've got to have them both moving together. See, that's locked in now. I had that one out and then it puts tension on the curve. You've got to move everything parallel when you're doing this. This one will come back now, see, it wasn't parallel. There you go. So bed lever at the side pulls it and the whole lot goes forward. Then you pull that, or you'd pull that first, push forward, then get out the car, pull that and push the seat under it'd go under the steering wheel or under the passenger dash side, and you can put your back of your seat all the way down, actually level with the back seats of the car, which makes a complete level platform. So that's that. Then there's a height adjuster. So height adjusters aren't on all cars either, they're definitely on XLs and GXLs. Here's a height adjuster. We're going to knock this out of the assembly. There we go. So height adjusting platform. A lever here, pulling on a lock-in pin. So you're pulling up, that compresses a spring. There's a spring and a pin. Pull that, and then this cam is able to move. See how that's moving there now, that's that snail cam. And then as you let go of the lever, it'll find the next available locator. So that's just different height positions of the front seat. Now this is how it works. All that happens is those cams are fitted into two plastic liners here. Make sure you refit them or your seat will be wobbling all over the place. Plastic liners there that just pop in, they should be with it. You can powder coat this, but if you powder coat this, I did, you've got to grind off the powder coat. It's got to be completely clean, because the tolerance on here will be too tight and this will jam. So that's got to be clean. So this height adjuster goes in something like, I never remember which way round we are. If it went in this way, or it goes anyway, but see how they're engaging into here, and by turning this, pulling up, that rotates and you're able to pull up on the seat, and it just raises and lowers the front edge of the seat. So that's it, we're all done. There's one fitted already here. So there you find the lever there at the side of your feet, pulling on that little pin, and you kick the seat up, or rather you push your back into the seat, and that cantilevers the seat, or you push your force down when you're lowering the seat. Now, so free controls, bed lever, height and slide, and you've got some handles on the seats themselves. We'll talk about them when we get to the retrim. All this has been powder coated and rebuilt. Little lever there, take the plastics off, knock them off carefully when you powder coat, then you can tap them back on quite easily. So the only thing you can't powder coat if you're redoing this like I did is your actual runners themselves. Just clean them, degrease them. I would imagine, depending on the use of your car, that those races could wear out, so they're a non-serviceable part unless you were able to break open this. You could drill it and pull it out, you could punch it from the other side perhaps, but I've never seen a damaged one, but I suppose you could get that. That's seat bases done. You saw the shell earlier on. I'm wrapping it up, running out of things to do now in here for sure. These will now go into stores ready for when the seats are built, and that's it. Oh, you've got some hinges at the back, I forgot about those. These hinges at the back have a plastic cover, make sure you've got those. Look, little plastic covering cap, a pin through there for the back hinge, and a little split pin at the side. That's for the back hinge. Two sizes. The Cortina chassis rises up towards the centre what you call transmission tunnel, so this one's a lower bracket. This one's higher because it's near the door. There is a technique to fitting this into the car. I've done it once, because you have to bolt that into the car first. We'll talk about this when we reassemble, and then I think you slot the seat in and then you bolt these on. By pushing it forward you can get the bolt through. We'll talk about that. That's it, that's the end of that little clip. Cortina font. Up the power.
Or just do a quick outline to check. Okay. Final. Then just test that it's in line again.
Tracking on the edge there.
Cheers.
Up across the edge there. I just see it on the far end there, Pete. Got it ready, Pete.
Preferences.
Maximum power.
Resto. Let's check the job number. Job 5.
Okay.
Okay. Print. Job 6. Right, you ready?
Yeah, ready to burn.
Okay.
All or nothing. My last stalk over. Can we do a few runs over?
Yeah, we'll do.
I think we're on target, everybody. Pete's hit the button right. So the laser just eats into that plastic, doesn't it? And then there's an extraction, air extraction system on it.
Check that.
Yeah.
Just forgot to turn on.
Hey!
Looks like it's smoking.
I'll start the film now. Right, we're on. Filming now. Campbell, pick it up.
Take it out.
Got our trusty torch.
Again.
We mustn't move that, whatever else. Looks like alright to me. Yeah?
Yeah, doesn't it?
Okay. Guys, you just saw that clip there. Couldn't really comment on it much. The guy was very much concentrating on his work. You'll see I'm pointing at the steering wheel. I'm trialing out my Mondeo cruise control. I don't use it a lot actually, but what I'm doing is I'm working out the most commonly used controls and how this would fit onto that stalk that you just saw us making. That's the cruise control stalk engraved there. We're pointing at the wheel. The buttons I use the most is resume and set, so they're the ones I'm going to make most easily available to the Cortina. So just out on the road testing the principle of the cruise, which buttons hold on, sat nav.
3 towards Southport, then go right on the roundabout.
Shut up.
3rd exit.
So the minus buttons use the least. Brake pedal switch, that's all right because that's on the brake pedal itself. So we're working out what we use on the cruise control, just working out the best buttons to use with the limited controls I'm going to have on the steering column. I don't want to make it too complicated. At the moment it's resume and set that are used the most.
Go right on the roundabout.
Shut it.
3rd exit. A570.
Shut it. Yeah, it's the on-off one's not too bad because I'll just do that by throwing the stalk forward for dip or high beam, sorry. The most commonly used controls here, minus is hardly used. Now minus, hold on, I've got to shut this up. I know she's only helping me, but minus, you can simulate that by just touching the brake pedal or killing it on the stalk, and then resetting the speed you coast back to. So if I want to drop the speed, okay, you can minus it on here, and I could have that on the stalk as the left or right indicator combined with the set button. It's possible to do, but you just have to touch your brake pedal. That'll knock the cruise off. Then when you drop down to the speed you want, you just hit set again, and that'll dial in the current speed. So we really don't need the minus button as much, and so it's much more complicated with the stalk. Resume's a really popular one, and that'll be the horn switch, I think, because resume is, as I touch that brake pedal, it kills the cruise, and then to set back where you started, you just hit resume. So that'll be the horn button on that stalk. And I think set and increase speed would be pull up for high beam flash. So I think that's what we're looking at there. So just out on the Mondeo, coming back from the engravers, you saw the plastic engraving there on the stalk. We're on the attention to detail. Okay, so we'll get back to the workshop and paint that up. Okay, so just some thoughts while I'm out driving out and about. I think it's a good time to just sit back and contemplate when I'm out in the Mondeo. And I hope it's a little break for you watching the films there. We have been very intensely busy in 36 and preceding episodes on that engine build, and of course I know you're all looking forward to the shell painting. 37 won't make the final paint, but 37 is just going to see a few glances of paint on the underneath and some of the prep work. Then for 38 we open with the complete beginnings of the reassembly. So the restoration series is coming to an end. We weren't sure if we'd make 40 or 50 episodes. It looks like we're just going to be in at probably 39. I would like to wrap on 40. Then the rest of the series are assembly videos, which will go a lot quicker and won't cover anything like as much footage time. So you could see the whole car wrapped by 45, quite possibly, I would have thought. And with the NEC being the final episode. So we're 2/3 of the way through this YouTube restoration on Ruby. It's nearly done now. That would take us just over 2 years, which isn't bad timing. August 2 years ago, almost to the day, we'd picked the shell up from the breaker's yard. So we're almost 2 years in, so another couple of months takes us 2 years and 2 months for the restoration. And then we straight into the two-door for a heavy 3-year restoration on the two-door, possibly longer than that, but we'll let you know when we get nearer the time. So that's the filming schedule. We're going to need some support along the way in terms of more subscribers, really, to get that third project going. I was thinking of a few ways to fund it, because it's going to drain the money, and you really don't need any more Cortinas. So we build to order on the next one. We'll be looking out for bespoke orders for Ford Cortinas, building to order on the next ones after the two-door's done. We've a couple of Cortinas lined up, which are good restoration projects, which we'll be looking for clients for those to build to order to the spec that you want. We'll talk about that as well. So out on the road testing crews today, also, as I say, getting that stalk engraved. I hope you like the detailing on that. We're going to take the stalk back to the unit now and get the paint into the engraver, and then buff that off, and then it should look the part. Then we've got the cowling to colour code. I have got 2 cowlings, one without the cutout and one with the cutout. We didn't chop into the already ruby colour coded column shroud, because in case it went wrong. So I have some more paint. I'm probably going to paint the pair, and I'll keep the other one as a backup unit. If the cruise is ever to be removed, you just keep that as the shroud. Someone may want to, if I ever sold the car, unlikely, but if he ever did, you can resort back to a colour-coded, non-cutout, non-cruise stalk, unplug the plug, and you're back to standard. As same with some of the trinkets that are on there. I think there was a couple of options which I included a non-bling version of, foot pedal and some of the other chrome bits. You can revert back to how you want if they're too much, so we keep those in as a reserve. So getting close to the unit now, and we're going to be placing some paint in there. See you back at the unit. As Martin says, we'll see you in a minute. Okay, right, fluorescent. Your durance on the bench back from there. Our engravers there. So an engravement into the plastic, laser engraved in with our 70s font. Quite pleased with that result. Our paint's just cured now. We use a quick drying paint. I use a touch up and activator, and then we go back with 1500 flat over the top, so that you don't start digging the paint back out of the plastic. So we went over with 15, scrape back, and you get your indentations for your crew. So just a quick look now how we're going to be. How about that? We're halfway there really now. So we just need to G3 that now for a very fine polish. You want to be careful. That's quite well cured though. Really, I should leave this overnight, you know that. Just want to give it a little clean. We'll be back in a minute when we clean this up. Right, we're done with that. We've polished up a little bit more light buffing, but we're pretty much there. We can finish that when it's on the car. So there you have the cruise control stalk, nicely done. And remember that attention to detail. We're doing on the floor here the axle and starting to get a prop shaft ready. We've got to come down by 115mm because that's the length of the gearbox on top. So just been talking to the prop shaft guys about what we're going to do. A couple of alternatives, one solid piece prop or using the original prop as a 1600 prop there in the back. Gotta just see what the differences are. That's got a different input shaft connection. This is the larger type which we need. That's too small, 1600. Anyway, I'm starting to gather information on prop shafts now and learn all about that and getting one cut down and balanced at 115mm less. So just trying to mop up the seats. We're done, you know about that. I've just stashed them over there for now. So we're really beginning to catch up. There's our sundim glass collection. We're starting to build up good sets of glass for the sundim glass, cleaning it down, starting to build it up. So we're going to take you to the body shop tomorrow. They're going to put some paint on in the afternoon, so we'll catch that as well. And then we'll be drawing 37 to a close. Well, you get that teaser in there for the car. You see the final touches on the interior bits and pieces like that. We may squeeze in a trip to the trimmers. We'll just try anyway. And other than that, we'll close 37 with some paint shots. Well, once again, thanks a lot. 38 will see the actual paint itself, and there's going to be no going back from that one. Well, this crams in the last few little bits about assembling a Cortina, the wiper motor you needed to know about, stuff like that. Sorry, not wiper motor, but you might have seen the finished bit. We finished that on 36. But a few extra closing little pieces explaining how those bed levers worked on the seat runners, stuff like that. Okay, so away we go. And we're going to pop down the body shop next. See you there. We'll see you down at the paint shop. continue on with some trim build, just putting the door cards back together. Now, you'll have seen on previous videos, as we always say, these door cappings were redone and refurbed. So we're now clipping them back in place. Here we go. So just these little spring clip releases. I find when you unpick these off, you've got to just retension them up by bending the little tabs down, but they go on nice after you've done that. I just squash them with some pliers there. So we're building up the door cards. Got some we've done just over here. Them cappings are on. Say cappings, side trim panels. We've got our cigarette ashtrays done now. They're put back together with the rechrome part, and then the inlay colour matched in, and then the surround colour matched in. So that door card's starting to come nice. Just finishing off these drivers and passenger fronts. Let's get back them together, and then we'll find any other bits that we need to go with these kits. Then we can rewrap them as kits, ready for when the shell's back. Okay, so carrying on, door card rebuild. Oh, our attention to detail keeps on going. Just this in before we're doing the seats there. Rebuilt the mirror, new chrome centre screw, newly painted colour matched in stalk, and then refurbed the plastic body, and the glass is mark free, especially around the edges where they normally go. So a nice dipping Cortina mirror there. So I just thought I'd add that into the little bits that we're putting together just between the seat job. A nice mirror as well, just showing you the attention to detail we're doing on the interior to keep it looking nice, keep it looking original. So how about that for a Cortina styled mirror? Oh yeah, I like it. We are en route to collect the trim. Trim is ready. A little bit of paint going on in the boot as well. Some seam sealing. We've just been in to check with the body shop about the seam seal over the bungs. Little blodge over the bungs and just swirl it around with a brush. The factory just rushed it through. But now we go and collect the seats. They're ready. Let's go and have a look at them. We'll see you in a minute. Well, here we are. We take the seats straight back to we're in the attic. Echoey. We borrowed the unit next door because they're empty. We ran out of space. The Cortina's taken over everywhere. I didn't want the seats to get attacked with any of the stuff in my workshop, so I've kept them out of the way where it's clean. Well, what we say is we're very pleased with the seats. We really like the way that the trimmers have done those. Very straight lines, good stitching. It's all nice. We do like it. All the bolsters are there. We're just ready to build them up now. So I've got those seat assemblies which were already built. Of course, we used the maximum time and got everything ready, so there's no downtime on this. So we flip the seat up, and there's 4 bolts we put in there. 10s, I think they are. 13 heads on them, at least. The height adjusters don't go on. They fit in the car separately. But we get the frame on now for this. And there's a little surprise waiting for you, but I'll tell you about that when I've got that frame bolted on. I'm going to show you a little surprise, a little ace up the sleeve for the seats. The two-tone colour schemes worked out well. Remember how we dyed? Spent a lot of time dyeing that brick weave and sourcing this ruby colour, the two-tone colour, and the piping and everything's worked out. Again, great contrast. We thank the trimmers there, Martrim. We thank Martrim for that, and the trimmers down at Q-Coach Trimmers, thanking them for that. So I'm going to show you the two-tone and how it works. Here's a side trim piece. Okay, and that fits just on the edge here. I can never remember which way round these go, ladies and gentlemen. There's a flat piece that way they go. That's the two tones of colour that the car has. The dash, the caroling, and most of the stuff's finished in this maroon colour. Most of the car is in that colour. That is the ruby colour. But for the seats, what they did knock the tone up, and that's what we discovered when we investigated another ruby interior, which was actually my two-door, what's nicknamed Bramble, and that gave the two-tone scheme overall. So this seat sits alongside that. The carpet's also a similar colour, although the carpet's a shade between these two, because with carpets you are limited to your choices, but we found something that suits the palette. So that gives us the seat and everything that we want. So we're completely there with that. Okay, we're really happy with the way that's worked out. So we've got a palette of colour in ruby to finish. The brick weave itself was paint was chosen to be the closest we could get to this, a shade between the very light colour and the very dark. So you'll see here the 3 shades of paint. There they are. When they all go together, they're going to work. I think that this was initially colour matched to this material, but when it goes onto the black, very difficult to get the coverage. Okay, I'll put a little bit of silicone there just to see how they shine up, and they shine up good. Yeah, so you've got it, you lose it a little bit here, but that doesn't matter because it's still in the same colour scheme, and actually quite like the contrast there, so that's good and that's worked out well. Bit of an optical illusion as well when you get this brick weave fit, but there is a little surprise waiting for you soon. We're going to show you that in a minute, but before we do, we're going to bolt on. Now part 37 is coming to an end. Little taster of the body shop, little taste of the trim, little background things that we've done getting ready so that 38 becomes the shell coming back from the paint shop and becomes one of those fun packed episodes where we're actually building the car completely up. So 37 really wraps up all the loose ends. I'm hoping most of the loose ends will be covered in this video, or has been covered in this video, which is now coming to a close because we don't want to run too long, and then that gets you all primed up and ready. So car is painted at the end of August, and the headlining and the vinyl roof guy is set for the first week in September, which then gives me the rest of September, all of October, and a week into November. November will be the MOT week, and then the NEC middle of the month on the 16th for the debut of the car. That is what I'm trying to aim for. I'm hoping that I can cover everything in the meantime. We have been doing a lot of background stuff. You see the wiper motors here. We're on with the glass as well, the sun-dimmed glass. We're doing that. So we're trying to get everything we can. It's a tall order. Completely reassemble a car in 6 weeks. But we're not waiting for outsourcing, and everything's been running. That engine's tested. We've only got the prop shaft to do to actually get the car mobile. Steering column's done. There'll be some wiring, that'll take quite a while. However, it will fire up with not all the systems connected. So if we came to a push to get to the NEC, we could run the car on its basic skeleton electrics. Although, because I spent so much time on the electrics, on the bench, I'm expecting it to be all systems go. Certainly with the MP3 system and the auto wash wipe and the rain sensing wipers and headlights. There'll only be a few little things which perhaps I don't have time to complete for the NEC. Probably the cruise control will take the longest. So we'll get it all installed, but we might not have that running perhaps. We'll have to see about that. So let's bolt this onto there now and tilt the seat back so we can see what it looks like. Okay, little trick for you when you're assembling the seats. Slide your seat to the position where you can get straight through this handy cutout. Otherwise you'll be trying to work out how you bolt the frame to the seat. These are your bolts. That's a 13mm head. That's going straight through there and straight into this back mount here. Okay, so I've arranged the frame so that I can get the socket straight through. If you don't realise you can do that, you'll be trying to struggle getting past the metal work and getting spanners in. Straight through with a socket here on this one. I lift this up now and offer it up to the seat. I can't really do it with one hand, but you're going to see where I'm going here. Look, straight through there into that one. So those bolts on now, please. Let's do it. So just through there, you see, makes life easy. But just don't tighten them all the way up yet, because you've got to get the bottom ones in. These are slightly elongated at the top here. Okay, so we'll leave them loose. We go down for these ones now, because there's a little bit of play just in that slot. So okay, so now we're going to slide the assembly back and find the front ones. We have to pull on the handles now and slide the whole lot backwards. Okay, we'll do that and get the other 2 remaining bolts in. Okay, so we've gone back up to the first 2 we did and tighten those up just by a combination of operating the levers here. The bed lever as well helps. So that's got me all locked on, and both rails are parked in the same place. You've got to park them in the same place, otherwise you'd be slightly twisted on the seat. So that's done. I'm just going to wipe my hands down now, flip this up, and I'll show you the hidden secrets of the Golden Nile. Here we go. Okay, we got some side trim on, looking very nice and chrome. Those are just buffed up, nothing done to those. They were nice and clean on the car when I got it. This side trim piece now in with the galvanised head screws we'd already had done. A little bit of fun finding the slots, because when they do the seats they overcover the holes, so you just got to go and just find them by positioning out. This trim fits just a little bit proud of that embellisher there, and then you can find the trim holes in the metal for these trims, so they're on. But I wanted to show you what we got. Any minute now, it's coming up. It's going to finish off. We've got 1 screw to find to fit in the end of there, and then we'll step back and I'm going to give you a demo. Okay guys, come on in with me. And why would we have 2 wires hanging around the bottom of the seats? Why would we have a wire sticking out of the seats? Why would we have 2 wires sticking out of the seats? I think you're going to guess what we're up to. Let me take you across here to my little control centre, and we have got left and right heated seats. Get in. Both controls off. We're going to test this now. This is a little kit I got off eBay and I gave to the trimmer to install, because towards the end of the season I do take the car late into November, especially for the NEC, and I like to have a nice warm seat. It also helps with your back as well. My back's actually okay. I don't have major back problems in my life at this stage of my life anyway, but I've got them in the Mondeo and I do miss them. So for the extra cost, I thought, why not get a heated seat kit off eBay, hook it all up. Here's our power pack. Don't worry, we've been thinking ahead to demonstrate, although you can't see the heat. I can only report back to you. There's our little controller. We need to mount that. I think I've found a place on the centre console where that can hide, just under the handbrake where it won't be seen. Or we could remotely hide that somewhere under the dash, but it'd be nice just by the handbrake. We don't want the car to start looking too modified. So far, I think we're winning the battle and we've kept it looking stock. And the mods that I have fitted are quite discreet and just sitting in the background there, not in your face over the top. I think you're going to agree that the seat looks the part. Just look at that. Alright, now you'll see the contrast in trim again there, but that's going to pick up with the carpet, you see, and blend the seat in. At the moment you'd expect that to be the same colour as the seat. Checking on the 2-door Ruby interior, they did have the dark colour there, or it's faded and I've made an error, but it's very easy to tone those down if I had to. But that's going to pick up with the carpet and create a zone of transition between the seat and the carpet as well. So I think I'm happy with the way that that works. So then we go round the side of our seats and we hook up. But let me just connect these 2 cables, and then we're going to switch on and see if it starts to draw some current on the power supply, and we're getting to the end of the film then. We're getting to the end of 37, okay? It's a bit of fun to leave you on. 2 wires to connect and then power to apply. Let's go. Okay, so I dial in the heat. Let's put them on full for now. Both seats connected, by the way. So 5, and now we look across here to the power being drawn from the amp gauge. And I'll just off screen turn them off and you should see the gauge drop down. How this works for the heat control, it pulses power into the element. Just turning on the right hand seat now. You'll see it kick in. Now if I turn to position 4, you'll get slow pulses there. See that? Off, on, sorry, off, on, and that controls the heat. The lower the number, the slower the pulses go. So that's putting power across. If I switch in the other seat now, which is connected, you'll see that rise even more, and we'll have a much bigger current draw, set on 14 volts by the way. So both seats are drawing power on this controller here, which is really just a pulsing unit, so I can dial in the heat that I want for each seat. So on them colder nights towards the end of the season, when you get into the car after you've been out for a meal or something like that, and it's just a little bit chilly in the air, I like to just put on the seats. Okay, I'm using the car a lot in summer, they're not going to be needed the same, but cold mornings, cold starts, cold mornings, why not? It wasn't a lot of money, about £45 for the kit. No extra cost from the trimmers to fit it. Hold on while the camera stabilises. Camera's struggling under these low lights, by the way. Yeah, no extra cost. So we go across to the seat now. Let's just turn up to max. We should... I can't film myself climbing into the seat for you, but I can only report back, making sure that the seat's supported. I don't want to break anything now. If I'm going to sit down in this seat here, are we going to crush anything because it's not mounted? Is it going to collapse across? Be very careful with our fantastic work that we've done. We don't want to damage anything. Just look at that. That's come up really nice. Okay, round I go. This seat's waiting for a side trim there that needs a repair on it. The little mounting post just broke, but we're fixing that. So in I go. Now, can I flip the camera? If I had my selfie stick, I could have done this. Let's try it. I'll probably look a mess. I'm not too bad. I hide away there. And, oh, yeah, I'm getting warm. Hey, Jim. Oh, yes. What a way to end the film. Hold on a sec. It's getting nice. Ooh. Yeah. I think we'll end it there. It's been a long day. Oh, yeah. Oh, they're nice and warm. It's working. I'll see you in part 38. The seats are great. Oh, bye. The paint in 38. The paint. We'll see you there. Gonna be great in 38. Over and out. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, can you see that button down there? That's the subscribe button, and that's the comment button. That helps the channel. That's all I can say. That helps the channel. Bye. I've had a little sleep, I'm feeling a little bit better. I don't even need my glasses anymore. Yeah, just gym. I have to get the car ready for November. I've got to get an implant. I need a tooth implant. I can't talk properly. How many weeks have I got? I've got to get the car ready for November. See you there.